You must keep your money moving. The people who are losing financially today are people who are parking their money in long-term things like savings account and mutual funds. That's good for the average person, it's good for the average investor, and it's better than nothing. It's better than being poor. But you're not getting ahead with old information or old rules of money. I'll just pass this last thing along for those of you who say, well, I don't want to be an investor, it's too much work. I understand. It was years ago, a friend of mine, a friend asked a friend of mine, says, what would you say to the average investor? And my friend, who's a very rich man, said, what I say to the average investor is, don't be average. Because today, in this high volatile environment, the average people, the middle class, are getting wiped out. So, those are the new rules of money. You don't invest for the long term. You have to know when to buy, when to sell, and when not to be a fool. And so the last old rule of money is always that interesting word is called diversify. If you listen to most guys, they go, diversify, diversify, diversify. Diversify, diversify, diversify. And then people say, well, diversify, diversify, diversify. But the richest investor in the world, a man named Warren Buffett, does not diversify. So my question is, if the richest investor in the world, Warren Buffett, doesn't diversify, why is everybody else recommending you diversify? And in my term, my rich dad said, diversify means de-worsify. And what they want you to do is buy a lot of stuff, because most brokers, and again, the reason they're brokers is because they're broke, is that they can't tell you which is going to be the good stock or the good real estate or the good bond and all this. So they tell you to diversify. That's like me going to a horse race and not knowing which horse is going to win, so I'm going to bet on every single horse. That's diversifying your bet. The only way a diversification process works is if the dark horse wins. Now, that doesn't happen very often, but that's not a very good way. But the common wisdom, the old intelligence idea is to diversify, and what I believe in is something else, is increase your financial IQ, your financial intelligence, and instead focus. And what focus stands for is this. Focus is follow one course till you're successful. And so that's what I did in 1973. I signed up for my first real estate investment course. And I just did it and did it and did it. You know, I bought this one little $18,000 place. And I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again until the point where I understood it. And then I went into becoming an entrepreneur. And I did it, and I did it, and did it. And I'm still learning. And I'm still learning about real estate. And the reason, in 1966, I got into oil when I went to work for the Standard Oil Company. So today, I'm still focusing. I invest in oil and oil and oil, and I don't diversify. You know, it doesn't mean I don't lose. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I make mistakes and all this. But I just don't buy good as with all the bad. If you're going to be successful as an investor, you know, diversification is good for the average investor. If that's what you want to be, have a good life. But what I'd rather do is be able to know the good ones from the bad ones, the good investments from the bad investments, the good advisors from the bad advisors, and what's good for me and what's not good for you. Because what I do is not necessarily what's going to work for you, and vice versa here. So that's why I really think instead of diversification or diversifying, the new rules of money say follow one course until you're successful, and then keep doing it. Because once you find that way of being successful, you can do it again and again and again. It's just like learning to walk. You fall down a number of times, but once you learn to walk, you know it forever. And that's what I recommend. So some of the difference between the old rules and the new rules. Thank you very much.
What if there existed in nature a botanical so powerful it could nourish your digestive system, enhance energy levels, increase natural killer cell activity, protect your body from free radical damage, and promote overall health and well-being? And what if this same powerful herbal miracle were available now in a simple, easy-to-consume, highly efficacious supplement? Wouldn't you want this revolutionary superfood as part of your daily diet? In fact, wouldn't you want every one of your loved ones and friends to have it also? This botanical superfood does exist, and it now has the full attention of the health and nutrition scientific community. In a small mountain town in Brazil, South America, natives of the region known as Piedade lived to more than 100 years of age with great health. Research in the 1970s revealed it was the consumption of a special kind of wild mushroom known as the Agaricus blasiae murale that was the reason for their good health and longevity. In fact, the Piedade natives referred to their locally grown Agaricus as the king of mushrooms, or the mushroom of life. Ongoing research sought to develop an even more potent mushroom than the one originating in South America. So combining the original mushroom of life with another potent Agaricus blasiae mushroom created a perfect blend that sent the levels of nutrients in the new hybrid mushroom even higher.
Glutathione is the most powerful antioxidant known to man. Because glutathione is produced within the cell, it provides superior protection for every cell in your body, much more than any fruit, berry, or juice. Glutathione strengthens your immune system, helps your body detoxify by removing chemicals, pollutants, and heavy metals. And glutathione slows down the degenerative processes of aging.
Glutathione is a substance that already exists in your body. It's just that until recently we didn't know how to raise glutathione levels. Now, when I talk about glutathione to a medical convention, for example, I'll put a slide on the wall with 20 or 30 different things that glutathione does inside of your cell. But for most people, if they could remember 3 things using the acronym AID, then they can really start to understand why this has such a tremendous impact on so many different pathologies. The A stands for antioxidant. The I part stands for the immune system. And finally, D, this area of detoxification.
So let's take a look at each of these key functions separately. First, glutathione as an antioxidant. Because glutathione is the major antioxidant produced naturally in the body, many scientists will refer to it as the master antioxidant. In fact, none of the antioxidants most people are familiar with, such as vitamin C or E, would be able to work properly were it not for glutathione. To understand how an antioxidant works, it's important to understand a little about free radicals and the damage they can have on the body, also known as oxidative stress.
A good example of oxidative stress that everybody understands is that if you get a piece of metal and you take the protective coating off a metal, that metal oxidizes. And pretty soon, if you leave that alone, that metal will get rusted and it'll bore a hole right through that metal. Or if you get a brand new apple and you take the peel off that apple, oxidative stress occurs, that apple will turn brown. Well, if you come back a week later, that apple will be a little bit mushier. If you come back a month later, there may not be an apple there. And so that's all mediated by free radical damage, what we call oxidative stress.
And these are very damaging substances which can destroy cell components in a matter of microseconds. So it's very important then that these be quenched or neutralized right away, and this is the role, one of the important roles of glutathione.
The second important role of glutathione is to boost the immune system. Now, science still has a lot to learn about the immune system, but one thing we've come to understand is how to fuel it. And glutathione has been described literally as food for the immune system.
To have a food product, which I think is the most important development that we've offered to people in their health, their wellness issue, probably since penicillin. So 60 years. And I don't say that lightly, because I think it's very exciting to retool or help the body do its own healing. Because that's almost always, including intensive care, what we're able to offer. We offer support systems until the body heals itself. Now we're providing it with extra building blocks.
And finally, glutathione is a safe, effective, and natural detoxifier. It works in the body to eliminate toxins and help support individual cells and organs.
The way it operates as a detoxifier, it links with the poison through an enzyme called conjugase. And when they are linked together, the poison becomes soluble. And if a poison is soluble, it's no longer poison. It leaves the body through the urine. For example, lead,